do re-examination so that we can finish it today.
Right. I'm grateful.
Lord, we will participate in any dialogue hereafter on whatever basis, directed by your Lordship or not. And we prefer the matter to carry on the normal basis that the case goes on and dialogue goes on the other side, as it please. Mr. Malema, this is a court. It's not a political gathering. It's not a show. We're not talking to the gallery. We're not speaking to the cameras. And please don't give political speeches. Answer my questions straight, and let's get to the nub of this matter that I've been waiting to take you to for a long time.
Okay.
Now, you were taught to shoot with a gun at 13.
Yes.
And you had a gun with you at 13.
Yes.
An unlawful gun.
Yes.
And you were prepared to act unlawfully at that time.
Yes.
And you were actually what one could call in a child soldier, is that not right?
If you say so.
Yes. And that seems to be typical of Africa, using children to fight wars.
No, my Lord, with respect, that's the worst misplaced proposition which anyone in the best traditions of the bar can ever think and conceive of putting to a witness without any factual foundation.
Well, my factual foundation is witness and evidence.
It's very inflammatory, Mr. Duplessis.
Well, Lord, it goes towards the context.
No.
Let's just put this straight, Mr. Malema. What we are talking about is we are talking about the perception that people have outside this courtroom of you, of what you say, and how that should be interpreted. Not how you say you interpret it and what you mean, how it should be interpreted outside. Now, it's important for those people outside to know who you are. And I put this in that context to you. You were prepared to act as a child soldier for the ANC.
I've always been a young pioneer of the African National Congress.
And you were at that time, 1991, 2, 3, taught by the ANC to be a child soldier, isn't that so?
I was never trained child soldier. I was a young pioneer.
Young pioneer, 13 years old.
Yes.
But you were taught to be that.
Yes, young pioneer, yes.
You were taught to shoot people.
Yes.
And you would have done so if the instruction came.
Yes.
At 13.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the political approach that you have, sir, in our view, and in my client's view, is quite important. And we want to determine really with what views you are working with and the ANC Youth League are working with. What ideologies? Can you tell us what your political ideology is? The Youth League's political ideology.
We subscribe to the National Democratic Revolution.
Yes. And that revolution is about what?
It's about the transfer of power from minority to majority.
No, it's not just that. It's
No,
more than that. It's to transfer the means of production to the people, isn't that so?
Transfer of power. Maybe your question should be which power? Political, social and economic power.
Well, let's look at economic power.
Yes.
The transfer of economic power, therefore the means of production, to the people to be shared by them, isn't that
Yes.
so? Yes. Well, what is that different from communism, sir?
If you want to call it communism, you're welcome.
Is it
Mine
communism?
is the National Democratic Revolution.
Do you agree with me that it's communism?
I don't know. You say so. I say it's the National Democratic Revolution.
Well, I put it to you, it's communism.
That's your interpretation of communism.
Do you know what a revolution is, sir?
Yes.
What is it?
Taking power from the ruling class to the working class.
Well, sir, the most accepted political definition of a revolution, I'm going to put it to you, is from an American political scientist, Mr. S.P. Huntington, who said the following: a revolution is a rapid, fundamental, and violent domestic change in the dominant values and myths of society, in its political institutions and social structure, leadership and government activity and policies. Do you agree with that?
No.
What do you don't? What is your view different from this view? How do you differ?
Mine is a transfer of power from minority to majority in a manner that is democratic.
All right, so you use democracy to achieve the communist ideals, isn't it?
I've never said I stand for communism.
Now, well, don't you stand for communism?
I use democracy to achieve the objective of the National Democratic Revolution.
You disavow being in favor of communism, the ANC Youth League. Do they disavow?
I thought you said we must not talk politics.
No. I said, sir...
That is a serious political
in the gallery, please, to remain calm.
Please. Because it is distracting my cross-examination.
No, I understand
Every
that.
time somebody laughs here...
Mr. Duplessis, and I accept that, I understand that. And again, I request the gallery to participate silently.
I asked you not to make political speeches, not to answer a question that can be answered in one sentence in a long speech. That's what I asked you. I'm asking you, do you disavow, does the ANC Youth League disavow being communist?
The National Democratic Revolution is a concept which was designed by the International Communist Party for revolutions which were neither socialist in character or were capitalist in character. Those revolutions in their immediate seek to deliver democracy to the oppressed nation. Yes. And that's what I subscribe to.
Yes, do you know what communism means, or does it not help me to pursue this issue?
I don't know what communism means.
Okay, all right, so then I won't ask you further about that. Then the revolution you talk about. The revolution was first a revolution of violence, and then it is now a different kind of revolution, isn't it?
Ours has never been a violent revolution. It has been very peaceful.
Was an armed struggle?
No, from 1912.
It was an armed struggle, sir. Do you dispute that?
No armed struggle, we agree to it.
Yes, all right.
Yes.
Well, we agree to it. We know the facts. But the revolution is now different.
We were forced, in fact, to take up arms. It has never been our character and nature.
You're not answering my question.
You need to let him answer, Mr. Duplessis. You're interrupting him.
Oh, my lord, he's going to waste my time. That is what...
Well, we're not going forward unless you debate in a gentle manner, more gentle manner.
I'll try, my lord, but it's difficult.
And if answering questions, my lord, is called wasting time, I don't know what I must do now.
No, you must just answer my questions.
I'm doing that. You're saying I'm wasting time.
Mr. Malema, it doesn't help to debate this. Right. We need you to deal with the issue.
Thank you, my lord.
The revolution today is not an armed struggle, am I right?
Yes.
The revolution today, however, still exists.
Yes.
It's going on.
Yes.
Right. Would you agree with me that the revolution is a continuation of the revolution by other means?
The revolution continues.
By other means?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Through legislation?
Yes.
As you've testified?
Yes.
Well, do you know who Lenin was?
Who?
Who Vladimir Lenin was?
No.
You don't know who Vladimir Lenin was?
Lenin?
Lenin,
yes.
I'm going to read you what Vladimir Lenin said.
Okay.
He said, war for a communist state is the continuation of the revolution by other means. Now, do you still agree with what I put to you, or do you want to change your answer?
Yes, I hear you.
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Do you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Now, the people out there must therefore understand the policy of the Youth League on the basis of what you've told us and on the basis of what you say the policy of the Youth League also entails.
Yes.
So I understand it that the policy of, well, not policy, let me put it differently, the ideas that the Youth League put on the table are ideas that may not yet be policy of the ANC.
Yes.
May not yet be policy of the ANC Youth League. It's still being discussed.
Yes.
The land reform issue falls in that category.
Yes.
The nationalization of the mines, does it fall in that category?
That is a policy issue
That's
of the
already
Youth League.
policy.
Of the Youth League, yes.
In other words, it does form in that category.
Yes, I understand. So, and in respect of both the nationalization of the mines and in respect of agricultural property, these assets must be taken to be shared amongst South Africans,
Yes.
and the people who own them should not be paid their value for it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the idea of
Yes.
both those
Yes.
programs. And the reason why you want to achieve that is to get an end to colonialism in any form that still exists.
Yes.
And the people who own farms, especially the whites who own farms, they're still part of an old colonial system, isn't it?
The ownership still reflects the colonial patterns of ownership.
Yeah. And those people who do not support the new democratic state and the national democratic revolution, they are today's oppressors.
Yes.
And they are the people who must be targeted by the ANC.
Not people who must be targeted. The ideals which they subscribe to must be targeted and they must be defeated.
But therefore, the person who holds those ideas must be targeted, isn't it?
No, targeted might mean something else.
No, let me
Yes.
put it differently.
Yes, yes.
That person must be focused upon. He must be the person who must be persuaded. Isn't
Where
it?
these ideas emerge, which seeks to reverse the gains of our revolution, they must be defeated.
They must be defeated.
Yes.
And the people who espouse those ideas, their views must be changed.
We need to seek to change their views.
Their views,
Yes.
Now, do you, in respect of what you say about the distribution of land, do you have any, is the ANC Youth League in possession of any scientific figures about current land ownership?
Yep.
Have you got some?
Yes.
Where did you get it?
We got it from the Department of Agriculture. It's with regard to the agricultural land which is currently being used in South Africa.
What do the percentages say?
We are told that of that land, only 77% was transferred into the hands of the people.
I understand. But it focused upon how much was transferred. Am I right?
Yes.
Could you turn to bundle C, page 506?
Page?
506. Bundle C. I think there are now two pages numbered 506. Just have a look. The one is a list of figures. That was a mistake that Curtin.
Yeah.
You have that.
Yes.
It's the heading is in Afrikaans, but the rest is in English.
Yeah.
And this was a
Cape.
sorry.
They start with Western Cape.
That's right. This was a survey, sir, that was done by my clients, and if it is still going to be disputed eventually in this case, I'll seek leave to call a witness to prove this. But this was a survey that was received by my clients from representatives or persons who had done the research, also for the government, and this was placed in possession of the government, and it reflects land ownership in South Africa as at 2001. You have no reason to doubt it.
No, I have every reason to doubt it. Which government? Who are you referring to when you say government?
The ANC government.
No, who? Because there should be a person and the department responsible.
It was presented to the current Minister of Agriculture. She has it in her possession.
She has not sanctioned it. It was presented to her.
It was presented to her.
Yes.
I'm not suggesting that she accepted it as correct.
Yeah, all right.
I'm saying
Thank you.
the government has it and they know about it.
You asked to assume that it's correct.
Yeah.
If it is correct, then
No, my lord. I'm not going to assume, because assumptions can be very dangerous sometimes. People conduct research and without proper mandate, and research is not properly conducted, they conduct them for the sake of arriving at a particular conclusion. They are channeled types of research. We listen to different manner of research, and some of them cannot be used as an authority. You see, if they will say, my lord, this comes from Minister of Agriculture, perhaps I would assume that they are correct.
Yes, sir. This survey was done by the Development Bank of South Africa.
Exactly the point, my lord. After listening to those figures in this court,
Yes.
I went to consult through the spokesperson of the Youth League, DBSA, and they've made it very clear that nobody should use their name in that research.
I understand.
You have no mandate from the DBSA to use that research as theirs.
They could have come to court and they could have phoned us and tell us that this is incorrect. They didn't do so.
So from that point, my lord, I doubt this.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm not going to debate with you the correctness of this. I'm putting to you these figures, and you can answer, and I'm going to leave it.
Yes.
These figures on page 511, the result is that as at 2001...
506, 511.
511. Of bundle C, and you will see there that the totals constitute a percentage. There are 5 columns right at the bottom, on the right hand side, that constitute the totals. Now the total means that it's the surface area, that's not the percentage, it's the surface area, it's by square kilometers. And the surface area owned by Africans relates to, my lord, it is a percentage, I apologize. It is 20.2% owned by Africans, 44% by whites, 1.03% by Asians, 9.37% by coloreds or colored people, and then the surface area owned by the state constitutes 25.33%. I put that to you. You dispute the correctness.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I put to you this is the only survey that has been done in South Africa on this basis.
As far as we are concerned as the Youth League, the majority of people who constitute 90% of the population of South Africa own less than 20% of the land in South Africa.
And they should have 90% of the land. That's what actually...
It must be shared equally.
Yes, equally. So
Yes.
10% must own 10% and 90% must own 90%.
The land of South Africa must be shared equally. And no apology about that.
If it's equally, 10% must own 10% and 90% of the population must own 90%. That's what you are working for, sir.
If
isn't
you
it?
are good on percentages, you can go to that point. The point I'm making is that we must all have equal share in this land because it belongs to all of us.
Yes. You don't want to answer my question. No.
I'm answering it.
Yes. No, you're
Not on percentages. I don't want to reduce this argument into percentages and then I'm told that no, you have actually distorted percentages.
Yes, it's because of policy that's changing all the time in this revolutionary state of ours.
There's no policy.
When it doesn't suit you, just change the policy.
No, there's no changing policy. You see, in a revolution, things are going to change.
Change all the time.
Change.
Yeah,
It's only change itself which is not changing.
Yeah.
But everything changes.
Everything else. Lord, at some stage I'm going to ask that somebody takes a visual on the persons who are laughing and that they be asked to leave the court.
We'll deal with it.
Thank you. Now, sir, and to achieve this policy that you now are going to put before the ANC, not the policy, this plan about the land, have you made a plan about how to achieve that?
We need to pass a legislation
Yes.
that says the
Yes.
government should have power
Yes.
to take over the land where it is in the interest
Yeah.
of the public
So
without compensation.
So government must drive around, identify a farm, send the government trucks, load the white family onto the government trucks, drive them out of the farm, and then take over the farm. That's what you propagate.
No.
How then?
That will be anarchic. That will be chaos.
How are you going to do it? What's your
We
plan?
need to find the method within which, including the involved family, appreciate that the land which they sit in is required by the public to be utilized on the basis of public interest.
And if they refuse to go off the land,
we take it.
you just take it.
Yes, we should take it.
That's what Mr. President Mugabe has done, isn't it?
No, he has done that, but the method was wrong.
He didn't legislate.
He has done that. You see, let's put it very clearly. If it is in the public interest, we shouldn't even apologize about it. We should tell you we need this land and we want to utilize it for public interest.
Are you only going to take land of white people?
Where we find land which must be utilized for the public interest, color doesn't matter. We need to take that land.
So land that has been transferred to communities in terms of the Restitution Act that are not used, you will also take?
Those communities, for sure, they will be more than willing to hear that government want to utilize this land for public purposes.
Sorry, can I just go back to your schedule?
Please.
I just don't understand. Does it relate as a percentage to the entirety of the land or entirety of usable land?
It's the surface land ownership law.
So this includes land that's useless to anyone.
Everything.
It might be some completely useless land.
Isn't that the point you made when I introduced it previously? One cannot glean here from what is the percentage of really productive land and who owns what of that. And obviously that's very difficult to do, but the government hasn't succeeded in doing such a survey, but this is the best that there is.
But the statistics, insofar as they are here, may be skewed in that they reflect ownership of economically unviable land.
Now, sir, and these people who are farmers whose land are now taken, what must they do?
They should participate in the land redistribution.
Yes, but what must they do? How are they going how are they going to earn an income? Now, I want you to tell us, look, what the position is, because the people out there are frightened, sir. They want to know from you. What is the plan?
They have no reason to be frightened. We are engaged in a democratic debate.
Yes, democratically take their land, don't pay them.
Democratic debate. If you are scared of democracy, then it means you are something else, you don't belong here. We believe in democracy in South Africa, and therefore we have introduced a debate, and we are not saying we are correct in that articulation. We are prepared to be persuaded otherwise, and we are persuading people to support us. If you own 83,000 hectares of land alone as a family, and we say to you, can you please share this land with these 50 extra families? Why do you refuse to share with people who also belong to the same land?
Because you worked hard to earn that land, to buy that land.
Let's not go back to working hard. Right, our people were forcefully removed from this land.
Do you understand what democracy is?
Yes.
Tell me about one real democratic state where people went in and took other people's land without paying them.
Zimbabwe.
You regard Zimbabwe as a democratic state?
What is Zimbabwe? It's a democratic state.
Yeah, all right.
They've been holding elections every 5 years.
Oh, I see.
They've been electing government of their choice.
It doesn't matter that all the
they've been electing President Mugabe time and again.
So don't interrupt.
So we can't impose government on them.
I'm asking you now. Don't interrupt me. I want to ask you the following question. International monitors did not find elections in Zimbabwe fair and free. Now, is that the example that we got?
I gave you that example. If you are not happy, it's your own problem.
Well, there are lots of other democracies that I can think of. Ghana, I can think of Uganda, I can think of Zambia, I can think of Mozambique even, I can think of Malawi, and that's just in Africa. Then I can think of Germany, France, Italy, Spain, England, America,
Is doing what, Mr. Julius?
Being democracies who don't take people's land without paying them. That's what I can think of. But your view is, and that's what the ANC Youth League says, we must follow Zimbabwe. That's what you say.
I can think of Zimbabwe which distributed land. You may not like the example, but that's the example I give you.
Yes. Now, the person who hears this, Mr. Malema, you will certainly agree with me that anybody who sits on a farm and he hears this will get along.
No, you've got no reason to be alarmed. We are not going to use the Zimbabwean method. We said that time and again.
The person is not going to be harmed by losing assets. Or what is you saying? What are you saying? I'm not talking about physical violence. I'm asking you, is he not going to be harmed in any way?
What are you saying about those who were harmed when they took the land? What are you saying about them? What are you saying about people who live in this country and don't have land? What are you saying about people who were forcefully removed on their land? Land owners turned into slaves. What are you saying? What are you saying?
It has always been the policy of my client that land redistribution should take place on the basis of this country's constitution, sir. And this country's constitution provides for payment of a fair market value of the property so taken.
That's what we're saying. We need to amend that section which speaks about that.
So the democratic...
And the amendment, if you can also give me a chance to respond.
Sure, sorry.
And the amendment you are talking, the constitution you are talking about, if it's going to be amended, it's going to be done through a democratic means.
Yes.
So if this policy is calling for hurting of people, harming of people, then people through democratic means will reject the amendments of the Constitution. It doesn't mean that when Section 25 says we must take the land and compensate, therefore moving forward we cannot change that policy. Secondly, you and me sitting here, we know that government has accepted that the willing buyer, willing seller policy has failed. We should have, my lord, redistributed 30% by 2014. It has not happened.
Also,
the targets have failed.
The South African government, ANC government, has done lots of things that are unconstitutional, and many of their laws have been found unconstitutional. And this that you're propagating, I guarantee you today will be found unconstitutional.
No, we start by amending the Constitution so that when we pass the Act, it's not unconstitutional.
So the agreement at Kadesa, the agreement to live in a spirit of reconciliation, that is going to fall away because you're going to change the Constitution to further the national democratic revolution, because you can't do it by democratic means.
You see, sunset clauses have served their term. What the Youth League says, my lord, is that we need sunrise clauses. The time has come where we need to relook into the compromises we've made. And we're calling upon everybody to be a participant.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see, on that basis you may even change, the ANC may even change all the provisions about the judiciary so that you only have a judiciary that serves the ANC, isn't that so?
My lord, there is no discussion document of the Youth League which speaks about judiciary. So far we have released a discussion document that speaks about land redistribution and nationalization. But you testified this morning, the revolution is also about changing the dark forces of the judiciary. We need to transform the judiciary, and that is what the ANC says, and there's no reason to be apologetic about it. So anybody who's against the ANC cannot become part of the judiciary because that person will not serve the ANC. That's what you say? Anybody who's not prepared to serve a democratic South Africa and is still hanging in apartheid system, that person does not deserve to serve judiciary. I understand. All right, that person. So there are certain persons who are excluded. So there are certain persons who may want to come to this court to say something is hate speech, but because they are white and they don't support the national democratic revolution, they are arrogant to be here and they're not allowed to be here and they shouldn't be here. Is that what you say? Hate speech case and a person who supports apartheid policies and want to continue with those policies are two different things. Unless you are telling me now that you brought a hate speech case because you believe in apartheid. No. But what I do tell you
what I do tell you is there are people who do not support the National Democratic Revolution, and who probably, and I don't know such people, but who probably still think apartheid is all right, who may come to a court to say something is said about me that is hate speech. Should that person not be afforded the right to come to court because he has a certain viewpoint in life? That's what I'm asking you, sir.
My lord, anybody who supports apartheid does not belong to a democratic South Africa. Apartheid was declared by UN as a crime against humanity. Do you really want to support crime? I don't think there's anybody who can stand proud and say, I can be associated with an evil system, murderous, nonsensical apartheid regime.
You're not answering my question. But I'm not going to press you to do that. If you don't want to answer my question, I'll simply argue about it.
I gave you the answer.
Yeah, but let's get back to the question that I want you to answer. The person out there who hears that this is what you want to do, and then he hears you sing Kill the Boer, certainly that person must be alarmed. He must think he's going to suffer some prejudice, isn't that so?
I didn't sing Kill the Boer.
Shoot the Boer. Please.
I didn't sing Shoot the Boer.
If I say shoot the Boer, kill the Boer, injure the Boer, hurt the Boer, I've referred to the same song. You know what we do.
I didn't sing Shoot the Boer, hurt the Boer, kill the Boer. I sang Tubule Boon.
Alright, let's use those Zulu words.
Yes.
So if you sing Tubule Boon, and a person who's on a farm understands the Zulu and he understands what you sing, and he understands what you've told us today, and he hears what you say about taking farms without compensation, do you think that person is not going to feel worried? Is he not going to think that he's going to be prejudiced in some way?
If that person understands Zulu and understands our struggle, will never be scared, because that person will know what we mean by Ibu.
So you say the person whose land is possibly going to be taken with no compensation, he's not going to be worried. He'll listen to that song and he thinks, well, Julius, Malema says we want to take the farms without compensation, and he sings Kill the Boer, or Shoot the Boer, or Ipulu di Bunu. But I mustn't be worried. I'm not going to be worried about my future and my situation. That's what you say.
The two are different, my lord. Taking the land and singing Tubule Bunu are two different things.
Mr. Malema, let me just explain to you what this court case is about, because clearly you don't understand. It is about the context in which the song is sung. That context means that His Lordship must test not what you say. His Lordship must test what my clients think. When you sing Dibula Ibulu, together with the policy statements and the political statements you make about taking farms. My clients are farmers. It's about that. It's about them seeing the picture and how they react, sir.
My Lord, with respect, that's a matter of argument. We'll argue about it. Let him put what his version is to the witness. But what the case is all about is a matter that will argue to your Lordship at the end of the day.
Well, let him put it. Let's hear it, Mr. Malema. Well, let's hear it. Mr. Duplessis,
Please,
let's hear it.
Please,
So the context has been put to you of a person who hears the words, understands them in the context of other utterances made, and becomes afraid.
My lord, Dubuli Ibunu, when it is sang, we have explained the context. But he says to me, here is a person who is a farmer or in a farm, who hear you singing Dubuli Ibunu, and hear you saying you are going to take the farms, and this person is scared. The person will not link the Ibunu to the farmers and the farm, because a farmer in Zulu, if that person knows Zulu, will know that a farmer is not Ibunu.
What is it?
Umli. And my song is not Dubulu Umlimi, it's Dubulu Ibu. And he wants to argue that here is a person who knows Zulu. And that person who knows Zulu will know that I'm not talking about Umli.
Sir, it's a question. The question relates to the person who hears you singing, who sees what you say, or hears what you say, what you want to do, and I'm going to put this to you for the last time.
Yes.
I put it to you that person is reasonable when he believes that he is going to be injured or prejudiced as a result of inter alia, the song that you are singing.
It's not true.
But you can't speak for the farmers because you're not a farmer.
You can also not speak about farmers. You can speak about your client. Your client does not represent all the farmers.
It represents a huge quantity.
You can't speak on behalf of Tokyo Sawali. You can't speak up on behalf of Gwede Mantash who are sitting here. Both of them are farmers.
Yeah, are they going to take
and they don't and they don't share that view with you.
Are you proposing that their farms must be taken too, or is it only white farms that must be?
The land must be shared amongst those who work it.
So how much must Mr. Sekwali keep, and how much must he give for the revolution?
We'll deal with that detail when we arrive there.
Oh, I see, I understand. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine, sir. I will argue to his lordship, and I'm putting this to you, and then I'll leave this point. I will argue to his lordship that on the evidence that you presented and the ANC presented today, and yesterday and the days before, that a reasonable conclusion made by a person hearing you sing, hearing you speak, and hearing what you say will feel threatened and will think that you intend to hurt and harm.
I have no reason to panic.
Now, you see, sir, what you do when you sing, you don't just sing. You dance with your hand there, isn't that so?
Mm-hmm.
You say,
The council is demonstrating the raised arm with the gun in it.
Thank you, Lord. And you even sing pa as if you're shooting. Isn't that so?
My Lord, it looks like he doesn't understand the song in question. Because the song in question doesn't have pa. It doesn't. And I've been listening to him throughout when I was sitting here. And I realized time and again he doesn't know the song.
Yeah. But alright, let's say you do that.
Even where the song is interpreted, my Lord, translated, there is no pa.
Yes. Well, you have done that.
That's a chant. That's a chant.
What? Pa?
Yes, that's a chant. It's not in the song.
Yeah.
Those are two different things. The song in question, my Lord, does not have pa.
My question to you is, you chant, right, let me put it differently. You chant a toi toi where you say pa
Yes.
as if you shoot it.
Yes.
And sometimes you do it at the same occasion where you sing the song the Buloy Bun.
No, pa is not done when you sing to Bulebu.
Oh,
Yes.
Why not?
Because the Bulebu is a song and pa goes with the chant.
Yes, but at the same occasion. Don't you sing different songs?
In the same occasion, yes, but they're two different songs.
I'm talking about the same occasion.
Yes.
Yes, so if you give a speech at the University of Johannesburg, you'll do both. You'll chant and you'll sing, isn't that so?
I didn't sing, I didn't do the Toi Toi at UJ.
Well, you couldn't remember very much this morning and yesterday when my learned friend Mr. Brassie asked you about UJ. So, how do you remember now?
I remember the song, which is what is central here. I must remember what is important to the court.
Couldn't remember how many people there were, but you remember you didn't do the Toi Toi and the Buloy Bun.
I gave you the estimate,
Yeah.
and you rely on the media.
Yeah, no, so you make up your evidence as you go. As the ANC's case has been, by the way. Because I want to put to you that a huge number of facts in evidence that was presented by the ANC and yourself were never put in cross-examination to my client's witnesses. And for lack of time, yeah, I won't go through them. I'll deal with it in argument, but I put that to you. Do you have any comment?
No, if you're going to deal with them in argument, you'll have to put them before the Lordship, because I'm not going to be participating in the argument. Leave the issues of lawyers to lawyers, not to me. I know nothing about argument.
You see, the reason why that is important is to show the court normally that you don't make up your case as it goes. That's why you put your version at the beginning. But that wasn't done. We never heard what the version of the song is, what the words of the song were, until Mr. Collins Trabanek and you testified. You see? You understand what I'm saying to you?
I hear you.
I'm not sure that's quite correct, because we did have that debate with myself and Mr. Maleka about what the content was of the song which we were talking about.
My Lord, but it was never
which was in the beginning.
Yeah, but it was, and your Lordship would have noted that the word Ngesi bomb suddenly became allegedly part of the song, which I haven't heard in the song that was played, part of the song after I raised that issue in cross-examination. We'll deal with that in argument, my Lord, but my contention here, and I'm putting it to this witness, is that the case of the ANC pertaining to the song, the words included in the song, and the version of the song was made up as we went. Was not in one witness statement dealt with by the ANC, was never put in cross-examination. That's what I put in.
It's easy to make that gun shape, Mr. Julius.
Like that.
You're doing it yourself.
I'm doing it myself. Actually, this thing there, my Lord, I should use the PW.
No, but well, we can deal with it.
I'll put that to you.
You put that to my lawyers.
Yes, all right.
Yes.
Now, sir, you coming back to what you do. You see, when you speak and when you sing, there's an atmosphere, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it in the air.
I don't understand.
It's an exciting atmosphere. People want to participate. They also want to sing. They want to hear you.
It's a political gathering.
Yeah. But that's how political gatherings are, isn't it?
Of the ANC. I don't know of any other political gathering.
No, of the ANC.
Yes.
And people get excited. Isn't that so?
What do you mean excited?
They get excited. They get worked up. They want to sing. They want to dance. They want to shout.
Yeah, it's fine.
Especially African people, because it's very much different with where there are Afrikaners at a meeting. That's very boring. Nobody sings anything.
It used to be in the days when they fought for who was the chairman.
Well, my Lord, but that was different. That was a fight, my Lord. There was no singing. It was simply a fight, as it previously. And we have that example of ex-President P.W. Botha riding with his horse into a wall, breaking up a meeting of the old supper when he was still a nat. But that's why culture's different. But in your culture and with the ANC, and in particular the cultures of black people in South Africa, singing, dancing, being excited, being worked up, that's all part of it, isn't it?
I saw them singing outside the terrible lunch court.
Yes.
I saw Afrikaners singing of the AWB.
When did you see that?
During the court.
This week?
No, during the court of Terablanche death.
No,
yes.
I'm not
Singing this time.
Yes.
And progressive South Africans sang the national anthem.
Yes, and you were offended when they sang?
No, I didn't take that very serious.
No, you look offended.
No, I don't look. I just saw people who belong to the past, who are refusing change.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You didn't like it.
No, whether they are there or not, really, it is not my problem.
But you didn't enjoy hearing it, did you?
I saw those people singing this time, and
Please answer my question.
I was very happy to see our people singing national anthem.
You know where I want to go, that's why you don't want to give me the answer. You weren't happy to hear that, were you?
I was not happy.
Yes.
And I didn't go to court.
Yeah, but you weren't happy, and they didn't even sing of killing you, sir.
No.
And you weren't happy.
Yes, I was not happy,
Yes.
but I didn't go to court.
But you sing of killing people, but they must be happy about it.
Because I saw them embarrassing themselves in front of a democratic nation.
And let's just get this out of the way. The old flag, it's the same situation. When you see the old flag being waved, what do you think about that?
This one belongs to the past.
Yeah. What past?
The apartheid past.
And when did apartheid start?
The apartheid was formally introduced in the 60s.
In the 60s?
Yes.
I thought it was 1948, sir, when the National Party came into power.
It's okay, whatever the date.
No, but you see, the problem is that old flag was introduced as South Africa's flag in 1925.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to be under a total misconception when somebody waves that flag, because that person may be celebrating 1925 when the flag was introduced, and not apartheid.
By the way, for me, colonialism and apartheid, they go together.
Oh, I see.
It's one thing.
Yeah. You see?
But he would be wrong, would he?
Lord, if
that's the case of the respondent.
If he makes the conclusion, he would be wrong.
No, that's the case of the, and he shouldn't be hurt.
But he wouldn't be. No, Lord, he wouldn't be. If he hears it, he wouldn't. He would make the conclusion that it is weighed with a certain intention, whereas the intention may differ. But it's not. The question is not if the person.
We'll debate.
But I just put this. It's not if the person who waves the flag with what intention he does it.
It's the recipient. I understand that.
Thank you.
No, but I mean, you're making a different point. You're making the point the respondent makes about the song.
Yeah.
In a different context.
Yeah, but it's something for argument, so
we'll deal with it
for a moment. So you see, sir, when somebody who lives on a farm and is an Afrikaner and is a boer and he lives on the farm and he hears these things and he watches you on TV because that's the only place he will see you because he doesn't go to ANC rallies, and he sees you on television and he hears the translation, that person hears all these things. Do you agree with me? He sees what you do.
Yes.
You and the people at the rallies, they hear what you do and they see what you do. And youth can be influenced, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Yes. So you create, and that's what I'm going to put to you, and that's what I'm going to argue as well. You create an environment wherein it is possible that you could influence people to go out and do what you say.
We do influence people.
Yes.
Yes.
And they also
and
do
we
what you
influence
say.
them. We influence them positively.
They do what you say.
Yes.
Yes. And they will try to do anything possible in respect of and to advance the national democratic revolution.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Saying and singing are two different things. They do what I say, not what I sing.
You see, the perception internationally is also the following, inter alia. Could you turn to bundle C, page 237. Page 237 and further, sir, contain documents of an international organization called Genocide Watch. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
And they evaluate countries right through the world to determine what is the situation in each different country with reference to genocide, and if genocide is planned or is executed. You know about that?
Yeah.
And on page 249, and this is part of the context of this whole case. At page 249, they list the 8 stages of genocide.
Yeah.
The first is classification. That's the first stage. All cultures have categories to distinguish people into us and them by ethnicity, race, religion or nationality. German, Jew, Hutu, Tutsi, Afrikaner, Zulu, Xhosa, etc. You agree? This organization says South Africa has already reached this stage, number 1. Let's look at number 2. It's symbolization. We give names or other symbols to the classifications. We distinguish people by colors or dress and apply the symbols to members of groups. They say we have reached that stage as well.
Where are they saying that?
Number 2. I'll come to that.
Okay.
Come to that. It's further on in this document. Number 3. Stage 3 is dehumanization. One group denies the humanity of the other group. Apartheid people are people who support the old apartheid, who support colonialism. They shouldn't be listened to. They don't belong in our democracy. They don't belong in South Africa.
Nobody said that.
Yeah, members of it are equated with animals, vermin, insects or diseases. That's the third stage. Now what did you do when you called Mrs. Zill a cockroach? Why did you call her a cockroach?
What did Miss Zill call me first?
Well, you called her a cockroach.
But she called me something first.
Well, you know the calling of cockroaches was one of the big...
Were you going to complain if I said she's a lion?
Can I finish, please? It was one of the most important issues that preceded the Rwanda genocide. People calling each other cockroaches. Do you know that?
If I had called a lion, for sure you're not going to complain.
I will, because she's not an animal, sir.
It's not true. If I
You say she is an animal.
If I said Zile is a lion, everybody was going to celebrate her. Yeah, they can see she's powerful.
But you didn't say that. You didn't say that. You called her a cockroach. You were meant to say something demeaning about her.
Human beings have got a tendency of likening each other to animals.
Yes. And then you see number 4 says genocide is always organized, usually by the state, often using militias to provide deniability of state responsibility, like the Janjaweed in Darfur. Sometimes organization is informal, like the Hindu mobs led by RSS militants, or decentralized. Special army units or militias are often trained and armed. Plans are made for genocidal killings. The UN should impose arms embargoes on governments and citizens of countries involved in genocidal massacres and create commissions to investigate violations. That's phase 4. Now we know that the UN is sending a delegation to South Africa to investigate Boer genocide, don't we?
I don't know that.
Farm murders, sir. That is seen by the Afrikaner community as Boer genocide.
No, I don't know that. And I will be very happy if they can come, send delegation to investigate farm killing, not farmers killing, farm killing.
But
and see how many farm workers are being killed there.
Why are there so many farm murders in South Africa? A person on a farm has 700% more time to be murdered than anybody else. Why?
I don't know.
I'll put it to you.
You
Why?
ask a Minister of Safety to analyze the dockets for you of what has been the real reason behind the farm killings.
I'll tell you what. It's to intimidate farmers to give up their land without compensation. That's what is behind farm murders. I put that to you and I will argue that.
And when you kill a farm worker, you intimidating the farm worker to take over the farm of a farm worker. No. The farm workers are being killed as well.
They are the people normally who are loyal to the colonialist farm worker. They are the farm workers who are killed, sir.
And who's killing them?
I'm asking you.
Yes, they are killed.
We are
majority. They are
killed.
Killed by their farmers.
There are international people out there, and that's what I'm showing to you, who think South Africa, the Boer nation, is undergoing a genocide.
Will extend their mandate when they arrive here. Please investigate also the killing of farm workers who are killed by their bosses because they refuse to pay them.
Right, and then the last point. Sorry, boys, just bear with me for a moment. The fifth point is, fifth stage is polarization. Extremists, well, that would now be you, sir. Drive the groups apart. Hate groups broadcast polarizing propaganda. That would now be the ANC youth. Laws may forbid intermarriage. Extremist terrorism targets moderates, intimidating and silencing the center. Put that to you. That's what the ANC is doing. They're silencing anybody who doesn't support the revolution.
I don't agree with you.
All right, well, these people disagree with you, sir, because what they do then on page 254, they analyze genocide and mass murder since 1945 on page 254, and then they give a list of, according to them, countries at risk of genocide, politicide, or mass atrocities in 2010. That's on page 255.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see on that page, countries are listed that reach the number 5 polarization stage of genocide. Included in there is Iraq, and then not surprisingly, sir, we see your hero country, Zimbabwe. See that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we go on, we see Uzbekistan, we see Egypt, we see Côte d'Ivoire. This was done in 2010, and we know what happened in those countries recently. And then we carry on and we turn over the page to 256. We see Israel and Palestine, and then what do we see? We see South Africa. And we see those who are targeted are Boers and refugees. And I think perhaps what they mean by refugees would be people from other countries who are being targeted in this country.
By who?
I'm looking for the word, my lord.
Xenophobia.
Xenophobia.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will see it's done by black racists, according to them. Do you have comment on this?
No, I'm not going to comment about those things.
All right, but the context against which this case must be dealt with must also be seen from an international point of view and an international context. I'll put that.
Yes?
Yes. So if you bear with me. Now, Mr. Malema, you are an important man, isn't it?
Oh, no.
Not. Being the youth member of the ANC Youth League, the president of the ANC Youth League, that doesn't make you an important man. Is that
No.
what you say? Oh, all right. But still, you want to be radical.
Come again?
You want to be radical.
I lead a radical organization.
You are radical.
Yes.
You are revolutionary.
Yes.
You want to achieve something.
Yes.
You want to achieve as much as possible for the revolution.
Economic freedom in my lifetime.
Yes. You want the Freedom Charter to be applied with.
Yes.
Want the Freedom Charter to be applied. And you want to be remembered one day as a great leader. Isn't that so?
No.
Not.
No, I'm not in a struggle for self-importance.
All right.
I'm here to play a role and live.
And you walk on the forefront of the revolution.
Not in the forefront.
Yeah, it's the Youth League who's placing all the debates on the table. It doesn't come from the ANC, it's the Youth League.
It has always been like that.
Yeah.
You must read the history of the ANC.
Yeah.
It's always been like that, my
And
lord.
it's expected of you to do.
The first generation of the Youth League in 1944 changed the ANC to be a radical organization. The ANC was a very peaceful, gentleman type of an organization, relying on deputation, delegation to the Queen. And then in 1944 we said we must fight. And that's when we introduced the radical program of action adopted by the ANC in 1949, which included armed struggle.
I understand the history, sir. I've been through the struggle in my life.
No, I'm
I've been
talking
through
about the history of the ANC.
I understand the
You have
struggle.
never been part of the ANC. You don't know the
I'm not
ANC.
part of the ANC.
Yes.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm part of an organization that is part of a constitutional democratic South Africa that believes in the Constitution and that believes in particular Section 25 of the Constitution that does not allow for taking farms and land without compensation.
Who are the
Those are my
champions of
thoughts.
that constitution?
Sorry?
We are the champions of that constitution.
You don't like it?
That constitution you have is
So
our
it said
base.
he's the champion of it.
We are the champions.
Are you the champion?
Yes.
Yes, but still...
We
you're not
made
happy.
it possible for you to sit with blacks in this bench.
Yeah.
We freed you.
Yeah. And that's why my clients can bring this case to court, because your government, the ANC government, has written the legislation which made provision for this court.
And we sit here as equals without looking down at each other.
But why should this court then resolve the issue? Why do you testify and all the other witnesses of the ANC testify that it was wrong for my clients and not for them to bring this case to court?
Look, you have a right to bring it here. In our opinion, it doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
But because you exercised your right of bringing here, that's why we're here. We thought we should choose a different field, my lord, because courts are preoccupied with important issues. And we thought this issue, important as it is, it belongs to a societal engagement, not to court.
Let us get to the point, sir. You are at the forefront of raising debates and issues and policy issues within the whole big ANC government organization.
It's not me, it's the ANC Youth League.
If I say you, I'm not talking about you first,
All
I'm
right.
talking about the youth league.
In relation to policy.
And please understand, our
Yeah.
case has got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Our case has got to do with the singing of the use of the words as being hate speech.
All right.
We do not target you. We have no issue with you. It could have been anybody else who sat there. What we have an issue is that you are the person who uses these words more often than anybody else.
I like it because your case is different from the person you joined in this proceeding.
No, the approach is different. But we'll argue about these things. We'll argue about this. Now, why don't the ANC, the more senior people,
Yeah.
the older people, the more experienced people, why don't they bring up these policy issues?
What?
Why don't they bring up these policy issues?
They
Why
do.
doesn't Mr. Montassi come and make a media statement and say the NEC of the ANC has decided that land must be taken, or will consider land to be taken without compensation?
We make different suggestions, my lord. Mr. Mantashe is on record saying we must nationalize the Reserve Bank.
All right. I'll put it to you, Mr. Malema. You're being used by the ANC.
I'm very
Because
happy.
you are prepared.
I'm very happy to be used by the ANC.
Let me finish. You are prepared to put issues on the table that they are too scared to do.
I'm very happy. That is my role. I'm a chosen one.
And I put it to you that that is how you are perceived out there amongst all the people.
Oh, it's not a statement of fact. I thought we were putting it as a statement of fact.
I put it as a statement of fact, and I'm putting it to you that people out there understand that statement of fact to be true.
It is not true. If the ANC was using me, I was not going to have a problem because I've always and I'm always willing to be used by the ANC. I'm a foot soldier of the African National Congress, and I don't apologize about that. I get my mandate from the African National Congress.
Yes.
In this case, on the land issue, as the debate continues, you'll be very happy to hear what is going to be the response of the ANC, because already the old ones are saying, maybe different approach, but we are very fair. And how would these people who are using us, my lord, every time we come with a proposal, they say, no, maybe try something else, not this one. On nationalization, we had a heated debate in the National General Council of the ANC, where the Youth League said, we need these minerals must benefit our people, and the ANC said, no, we hear you, perhaps let's conduct a study and see if we can find the best model of nationalization. Why would people who are using us take such initiatives and even delay us from taking these actions?
But how much people out there think of you? Must they think of you, this young revolutionary walking this road towards the national democratic revolution in front of the old people? Is that what they must think?
You know, President Mandela was perceived to be somebody who's used by the elders. Because if you read, you have been quoting President Mandela, many of you, and I realize some of you don't know him. If you read the stories of the young President Mandela at the time, who used to disrupt meetings of the Communist Party, and people were saying he was sent by other people, President Mandela became to be the greatest leader and the world icon today. You can't say that those who said President Mandela was used then, for sure they swallow their words today.
You don't ask me.
Because they realize President Mandela stood for what he believed in.
Sir,
I'm not used by anybody.
Well, sir, please answer the questions. Don't make political statements as a court. I'm asking you, I'm putting it to you. You are walking in front of the rest of the people. You are bringing about new revolutionary ideas to further the national democratic revolution, and people out there see you like that. That's my question, sir.
That's wrong.
Is that yes or no?
No.
Are they wrong?
The organization is the one that is leading the discussions, not Julius. If you see me like that, you are wrong. I can go tomorrow.
Organization.
Come
I
again?
said to you, if I say you, I speak of the ANC Youth League.
Oh yes, the Youth League has been a very important body of opinion in the ANC since its formation. And there's never been a political lull moment in the Youth League. It has always been coming with ideas, including the arms struggle.
And the Youth League's voice and ideas, etc., are being told to people through you. Mostly because you're the president, isn't that so?
I speak on behalf of the Youth League.
Yes. Now, and sir, then, do you always go everywhere with these bodyguards with M14 machine guns? You always do that.
My lord, I'm not going to respond on the security issue.
I'm putting it to you that you are creating a perception of a man who is prepared to use violence easily.
You know, my lord, there are people who come here with bodyguards and they leave them outside with fake police identity cards. And they stand here and want to speak like they are not being protected themselves. I've been listening to people.
You're talking about me. You're talking about me, so let's talk frank.
Yeah.
One bodyguard. One bodyguard who has not been identified.
Fake police card here, my lord.
Sorry, sir.
And they meet every day outside here as a group, with a group of thugs who are intimidating us outside. We have never brought that to attention. And we should come to you here and reveal our security so that we can compromise ourselves in front of people who are looked after by people who go around with fake police cards.
Well, I don't think we need to get embroiled in this debate.
May I just put this?
Well, we don't need to get embroiled in it.
But my lord, it is important.
I've actually controlled the security quietly through the Deputy Director
I
General.
understand it.
And
but what he's saying
the
is
security,
untrue.
well, we needn't
I've
deal,
mentioned
we
anybody.
needn't deal with it. I'd hope that the identity of council with the ambitions of its client, which should be kept separate, and trying to divorce you from your client
As it pleases you, Lord.
and keep you as a council.
Well, my lord, the bodyguard was not for me, it was for my clients.
Well, that's a different issue. You know my ruling on bodyguards.
And he wasn't in the
and
court
I've
ever.
maintained it that way. And there are policemen who are not known to the general public who are also
Yes,
in the
I know
vicinity,
that. I know that.
and they are identifiable, and the Director General comes periodically, and the court security come here. All these issues are different issues.
I know that.
You can perhaps put that the impression that is created when people come to court surrounded by people bearing arms is something.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's what you wanted to put.
Lord.
And then you became embroiled in a whole heated debate about something that doesn't matter.
No, my lord, but there is one important aspect. There is one important aspect
Well,
of this. And that is that there is no equal access to this court for my clients as opposed to Mr. Malema's?
Well, I'm not sure that that position, if it endures, comes about notwithstanding my intervention.
So I haven't recorded all the true facts pertaining to our security, and you know that, and I know that.
Well, I've never had any private discussions with you concerning your security.
No, it was...
Except on one occasion,
yes,
prior to the commencement of this trial, which had nothing to do with the current position.
No, correct.
And that discussion took place in front of all the council that were involved.
I won't take this further, my lord, but...
Yes, well, we don't need to become embroiled in a side issue. The point is this, Mr. Malema, is a different point here. It's been put to you that the perception, if you come to court with an army, if I can put it like that, is that you are a person who is surrounded by an army.
My lord, I've always refused to answer that question because of the reasons I've advanced.
No, but the public army we know about, we've seen it.
Yes, they keep on asking me about the security.
No, we're not asking, you're not being asked about that. What you're being asked is this. If you are surrounded by people visibly bearing arms, you are associated as, in the minds of people, as being a person who associates himself with arms. That's all, that's the question.
I don't know where that idea comes from.
So
because I've seen people who are protected by people with arms, and I've never perceived them as people who they associate themselves with arms, or they like arms or violence.
Right, there's your answer.
Thank you. I'll just put it to you that when people see you arrive with 10 bodyguards with 14 machine guns at court, they think of you as a violent man. That's what I'm going to argue.
And his answer is they're not right-minded people. That's the reply.
But they mustn't be scared.
There's no reason to be scared.
No reason to be scared.
No.
Have you told them so?
Oh, nobody asked me that. It's you who's asking me.
Have you told anybody, listen, I come to court with guns, but don't be scared? Or I'm singing about killing the Boers, but don't be scared? Have you ever said to anybody that?
Yes. On the song, I've always addressed it, even there on the DVD. On the 22nd of March in Mafikeng, I said to comrades, this song does not seek to incite violence. This is a revolutionary song which has been sang by many generations before me.
How many white people did you tell this to?
There's never been a white person who raised that concern with me.
Pardon?
There's never been a white person who raised that concern with me. Except the... what? AfriForum.
Oh.
And I explained to Mr. Ruth.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes to me and say the song is a problem, I explain and even make an attempt to teach.
And if you do that, sir, then they must trust you.
Yes.
They must think you're speaking the truth.
Yes.
Julius Malema was disciplined by the ANC.
Yes.
Julius Malema was a child soldier at 13.
I'm not a child soldier.
Julius Malema, who walks around with bodyguards with 10 guns.
There's no
10
problem.
bodyguards with guns.
There's no problem.
They must believe you.
Yes.
On your say.
Yes. Who else can speak about me except me?
Julius Malema, who says that there are dark forces running around in our courts.
Yes.
Julius Malema, who calls Mrs. Zille cockroach.
Yes.
They must believe you.
Anything you want to say about me, say it.
You say, the question is, you say that these people, they must be
You
believed.
can call me any name.
I'm not, I didn't call you any
You
name.
will never demoralize me. You are dealing with a different animal. A fighter. A revolutionary. Fearless fighter. Leading from the front.
No, you're not the only fearless fighter.
I defeated many people who
Now,
subscribe to the past. They are not
Yes.
happy.
yes, sir. Now, Lord, I see it's close to 1 o'clock. I may be close to my finish. May I ask for an adjournment, my Lord, and I will definitely finish before 3 o'clock.
Thank you.
As it is.
Mr. Malek is an hour enough for you.
My Lord, so far I don't have too much questions to raise in reply, in re-examination. I might not even re-examine depending on how it goes from...
Even better. Right, court adjourned till 2.